15 Signs of Psychological Distress. There are a few common ways psychological stress presents itself among human beings. The Mayo Clinic describes these signs as falling under 3 main categories: mental, physical, and emotional. Some of the mental signs include: mental signs. An inability to focus or concentrate. When you are experiencing psychological distress, your body activates a fight or flight response that makes you either want to combat the issue head on or flee from it. Being caught in this fight or flight response is thought-consuming. When you are so absorbed in thinking about your stressor, it is difficult to focus or concentrate on anything else. This can make getting tasks at work completed, enjoying your favorite hobbies, or handling your other responsibilities difficult. A desire to withdraw from social situations. Going through psychological stress can cause a person to withdraw from social situations. Interacting with people, even the people you love most, such as your family members and friends, requires a lot of your mental energy. If you are so absorbed in your psychological stressors, the idea of being social with other people may seem wholly unappealing, or even impossible. Rather than trying to enjoy your time being social, you may feel yourself withdrawing from social situations and avoiding them completely. A desire to use unhealthy coping mechanisms, such as overeating, drinking excessively, or smoking as a method of stress management. One of the most dangerous mental signs of psychological stress described by the Mayo Clinic is the desire to use unhealthy coping mechanisms as a means of escape or management. If you notice yourself leaning on a coping mechanism that causes more harm than good, it may be a serious sign of psychological stress. For example, some common unhealthy coping mechanisms include overeating, binge drinking, smoking, and using drugs. While these outlets may help you feel better in the short term, they cause more serious long-term issues that can create even more psychological stress in the future. Despite feeling good at the moment, these unhealthy coping mechanisms are not effective because they leave you feeling worse than before you engaged in them. A lack of motivation to do anything. The Mayo Clinic describes another major sign of psychological stress as a lack of motivation to do anything, even the things you love to do or need to do. Because your thoughts are so absorbed in whatever is causing you psychological stress, you lose both energy and interest to do much else. Errands, work tasks, fun with friends, hobbies, and more tend to fall by the wayside when you are experiencing high levels of psychological stress. Emotional signs. Increased irritability. Psychological stress can have a significant impact on a person's mood and behavior, often leading to feeling and acting more irritable. This can be due to several factors, such as hormonal changes triggered by psychological stress, which can alter a person's mood and make them more irritable. Stress can also disrupt a person's sleep patterns, causing them to feel tired, which can negatively affect their mood and make them more prone to irritable outbursts. Additionally, stress can trigger feelings of anxiety and worry, which can further contribute to irritability. Difficulty concentrating and making decisions due to stress can also lead to extra frustration and irritability. Finally, physical symptoms such as headaches, muscle tension, and digestive problems caused by stress can be uncomfortable and contribute to a person's irritability. Worsening issues with depression. A person already experiencing psychological distress likely experiences depression. According to a 2015 study by Longfei Yang, major depressive disorder is a serious mental disorder that profoundly affects an individual's quality of life. Although the etiologies underlying this disorder remain unclear, increasing attention has been focused on the influence imposed by psychological stress over depression. In short, Yang believes strongly that psychological stress is a huge contributing factor to why so many people experience depression. If you are already feeling depressed, experiencing an increase in psychological stress levels can make it much worse. Angry outbursts that are not justifiable. Everyone experiences periods of anger. Like all other emotions, anger is natural and will happen from time to time for plenty of identifiable reasons. However, a person experiencing extreme psychological distress may find themselves having angry outbursts with no justifiable reasons behind them. If you notice yourself snapping at loved ones or feeling extremely angry for no reason, it may be due to pressures from psychological stress. Feeling restless. People struggling with psychological distress may see that struggle show itself through restlessness. Rather than being able to wind down and rest or take a break, a person suffering from psychological stress may feel like they have to be busy or on the move constantly. This kind of restlessness can also translate into sleeplessness. Since a person with psychological stress may struggle to relax, going to sleep can feel like an impossibility, causing them to stay awake long into the night. Physical signs. Body aches. Experiencing psychological stress can translate into physical body aches and pains. For example, Experiencing psychological stress can make a person feel like they are clenching different muscle groups out of anxiety. Afterward, they might complain of feeling back pains or leg pain from clenching these muscles so tightly. Fatigue or tiredness. Experiencing psychological stress takes a toll on a person's energy levels. Similarly, in number 4 of the previous section, psychological stress can also cause a person to become so restless that they cannot get enough good, quality sleep. Because of this, psychological stress can lead to extreme feelings of fatigue or tiredness throughout the day. Eventually, going through a period of psychological stress can take long-term tolls on a person's ability to rest and relax, which can lead to an increase in tiredness. Headaches. Experiencing a headache when you're also feeling stressed out is not by coincidence. According to the Mayo Clinic, you are more likely to experience headaches or migraines when you are already experiencing a bout of psychological stress. When you cannot relax or rest, your body remains in go mode constantly. In periods of extreme stress, you may be trapped in the fight, flight, or freeze reaction constantly, which can lead to extreme tension in the body. This amount of tension can easily trigger bad headaches. Disrupted sleep patterns. Psychological stress can make resting feel impossible. It isn't uncommon for people going through periods of considerable psychological stress to struggle with sleeping on their usual schedules. Even if you are normally a very deep sleeper with a good bedtime routine, you may find these predictable habits and patterns disrupted when you are navigating a particularly psychologically stressful time in your life. Loss of interest in sex. When you are going through a tough, psychologically stressful period, it can be a challenge to focus on anything except what is causing you to feel stressed and anxious. Many people lose interest in sex when they are feeling the effects of psychological stress. It may be a huge challenge to focus on anything else, such as your pleasure or your partner's desires, and the idea of relaxing enough to enjoy sex can feel impossible. Digestive issues. Experiencing psychological stress can cause a person to experience problems with their digestive system. For example, feeling excessively stressed can cause a person to lose interest in eating. When you are distracted by your stress-inducing trigger, no foods may sound particularly appealing and your sense of hunger may temporarily disappear. Some folks may experience issues with constipation and/or diarrhea when they are going through stressful times. This is because being in flight, fight, or freeze mode stops any temporarily unnecessary bodily functions, such as digestion, so more blood can flow to the extremities to take action. These types of stop-and-go effects on the digestive system can wreak havoc, causing a person to experience waves of constipation, diarrhea, and nausea. Chest pains or chest tightness. Many people experience stress as chest pain or tightness. Sometimes, people even mistake these stress-induced chest pains for heart attacks. While they are not as serious as a heart attack, psychological stress-induced chest pain can be frightening, uncomfortable, and unhelpful when you are already experiencing high levels of stress. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing 10 common sources of psychological distress and stressors of the mind. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.